Today, we're going to be looking at an essential mineral that helps with many, many bodily functions, including oxygen transportation in the blood, muscle metabolism, neurological development. But when we accumulate too much, it rusts out our body and causes premature aging. So there's a huge balance that's required, and we're going to be dealing with that next. Welcome, everybody. This is the Life Enthusiast online radio and TV network, restoring vitality to you and the planet. By the way, we are on streaming TV around the world on Roku and hopefully soon on Amazon Fire TV. So with that, I'm your host, Scott Patton. Joining me as usual is life coach Martin Patella. Hey, Martin, how are you doing today?
It's a good day, Scott. Thank you for asking. It's all good.
Good. So there's been a big change, a new year, a new me. You may notice I am missing my Santa beard.
Yeah, no joke. Yeah, I'm missing it too.
Half my friends say, get rid of the beard. The other half say, no, we really like it. So half the year, one half of my friends are happy. The other half of the year, the other half of my friends are happy. I have to tell you something, Martin. For me, when I feel I'm stuck, this is a clue. I either grow a beard or I shave a beard. It's like I'm just in quicksand. I just feel like I'm just not making progress, and I need a change. And the easiest one is to just take the beard off or to put the beard on.
Make a change.
Like there's a new start, a new me, new enthusiasm, and it's really, really weird, right?
Just imagine some people get stuck in a problem of dysphoria and hate their whole body. Some go as far as hating their gender and try to change it. Like,
oh, yeah.
You know, like just imagine how stuck a person can be when they're not happy and not knowing what they're not happy about.
Right. That's a great point. And it happens a lot.
Yeah, terribly much.
Yeah. So George is with us again. Hi, George. Hopefully,
George,
you're
thank you again.
Good
I'm going to respond with thank you for your service in the military and on Facebook.
Yes. So we should tell everybody, too, that we are going to be going for about a half an hour. And then afterwards, we are uncensored on Telegram, t.me/lifeandco. I'll put that in the comments so you can go there. If you're watching this after we go off the air, then you can still go there and watch the video where we talk about what we really think.
Yeah, last night I watched the Mark Zuckerberg speech that he put out where he's promising that we are going to be less censored and more supported, and it's going to be fun.
And we don't believe him.
Well, let's put it this way. Is it that he is an opportunist that is being buffeted by the winds of change, or is he actually just growing a pair of balls that he should have had 4 years ago? Like, it was really hard for these guys because they were being pushed by this, I forget what it's called, but it's something like paragraph 230 or something like that, where they have the exemption of having to be responsible for everything they publish because they are a medium, not like a newspaper where the publisher is responsible for the words. It's more like an editorial.
Yeah.
So it was not easy because they had a lot of pressure put on them by the government saying, if you do not comply with my demand, I will come down on you with this and I will take your business away from you, essentially.
Right. But, you know, there's such a big difference between you and I and Mark Zuckerberg. Mark Zuckerberg has billions of dollars to fight the government, right? Like, you know, we don't. If the government comes down on us and takes our homes away, there's nothing we can do. We're going to be homeless, right? Yeah. Whereas with Mark Zuckerberg, he's got an army of lawyers. He's being sued all the time, I'm sure. And he could fight it if he wanted to fight it. and I
Yes.
think
Yes, he did roll over. Yep.
he rolled over. They all rolled over. It wasn't until Elon Musk bought X or bought Twitter and changed it to X that things started to change, right? And
Yeah.
although, having said that, we should tell people our X account was suspended. It wasn't fortunately
Thank God.
destroyed. And we
Did you ever
appealed.
find out what that was?
No, we appealed it, and the day later it was restored. So, that to me is like the remnants of the censorship platform, doing something and then, fixing it, which was really nice of
All
them,
right.
right? But
Okay, well, that's a lovely preamble. So
let's talk about iron.
Let's talk about iron.
So,
You can't live with it. You can't live without it. The older you get, the more you accumulate, and if you accumulate too much, it's a bad thing. But if you don't have enough, you feel really crappy. Like especially the bleeders, females in reproductive age, are
right.
forever dumping blood. And dumping blood means that your red blood cells are going with it. So you're forever losing. And
Iron.
also, iron and operations. And I don't know what other things that happen with, well, how do we lose blood? Injuries and operations, right?
Yep.
And donations.
And donations, yeah. Actually, that was one thing I was reading when we were doing some research on this was if you're feeling not great and then you give a blood donation and you feel good, you've got too much iron.
Yes, right.
So that was kind of interesting.
It's the best way to find out. Quickest, cheapest way to find out.
Right.
But otherwise, medical tests will run you thousands.
Yeah. So there's two types of iron. Heme iron and non-heme iron.
Yeah, heme. Well, heme as in hemoglobin, heme as in blood. I think heme might be the Greek word for blood. I should have looked it up.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
But anyway, so one is heme, is blood source, and the other one is non-heme, plant source. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. So if you go for one or the other, what is the difference? Let's talk to our vegan and vegetarian friends for a moment.
Okay, well, listen, the heme version of it is about 20 to 30% absorption, and the plant source is 2 to 10 or 2 to 12% absorption. So it's a lot easier to get your blood restored by eating a slab of liver or eating some bloodwurst.
Right. Than it is from eating carrots.
Point made, right?
Yeah. So this is why vegetarians have to be really concerned.
Yeah. So anyway, in plants, I think the best source is lentils, if I remember right, and legumes in general, probably.
Yeah. Legumes, nuts, whole grains.
Yeah.
Also some tea, coffee.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But not enough.
Polyphenols. Yeah.
So it's very common for the vegetarians to be low in iron, and with it comes vitamin B12 too,
Right.
which is not based on iron, but it also is found in these living tissues that the vegetarians suffer with.
So I made a note, Martin, about inhibitors. There are certain foods or dietary factors that can affect non-heme absorption. So if you're a vegan or vegetarian,
right? Yeah.
And phytates,
phytates. Phytic acid is something that's primarily related to baked wheat. Like if you eat crusts of baked bread, you are pushing phytates into your body.
It's my favorite part of the bread.
Exactly.
I
so
love
eat liver and bread, you'll be fine.
And then polyphenols.
Yeah, polyphenols are found in plants, right? That's what Dr. Gundry lectures about polyphenols all the time, telling you that it's both important and also dangerous at the same time, because these polyphenols, some are required and supportive and others are bad for you, as in diminish function.
So they can be found in teas and coffee. So if you're a Starbucks fan and you're drinking the coffee every morning and afternoon, you need to be concerned, be aware of the fact that it could be affecting your iron.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
And then what about calcium as an inhibitor?
I don't know enough to tell you. Probably is.
Yeah.
I don't know. Again, my standard lecture is do not take calcium on its own. You need magnesium because they're each other's balancers, and don't push just calcium alone.
So that's an interesting point, Martin. Like people like me growing up, okay, in the 60s and 70s,
Yeah.
I didn't really drink water. I drank 2% milk.
Okay.
Like mom had 2% milk in the fridge, and when I was thirsty, I pulled it out and I drank it. So
Interesting.
I was like super charged on calcium, and I don't think I had any magnesium.
Wow.
Like I don't know where I would have got the magnesium from,
Yeah, you were probably deficient.
although I had no problem sleeping. As a teenager, like teenagers, they can sleep, doesn't matter, right? But
Yeah.
it just occurred to me that
Huh.
I had all that dairy, and I had some health problems, but I didn't know. One of which was my nose was constantly stuffed.
Yeah, that was an allergic reaction probably to the dairy
Yeah.
and wheat, probably.
And the wheat. Oh yeah, like bread all the time, sandwiches and everything else. So it's just interesting the things that happen, and you don't really know, what you're doing until you stop, right?
Yeah.
Like
I remember, for example, my brother, they fed him cream of wheat, which in bottles when he was an infant, right? Like when he was weaned, he would go to bed with a bottle of cream of wheat made with wheat and milk. And poor guy, right? Like he suffered, he had ear infections, otitis media. Yeah. And it was on. And then he had tonsillitis all the time. And finally, I think he was about 8 or 9 years old. He refused to eat dairy, and his problems went away.
right. So that's what happened with me. I left Winnipeg when I was an adult, and I think it was a combination of the air on the prairies and the dairy. And then when I moved to British Columbia, I for some reason just stopped, and I was like, I can breathe. Oh, awesome.
Yes, indeed, awesome.
And then now maybe I do have dairy from time to time, but very little amounts. And so but I would never go back to drinking 2% milk, like 4 glasses a day, right? Whenever I was thirsty, just pour it, off I went. Didn't think anything of it. All right, so let's talk about what is the iron's role in the body, because it has some essential functions, right?
Oh yeah, totally. Well, what shall we go with? I guess blood, oxygen transport, right?
Right.
That's the number one.
And it impacts our DNA synthesis.
Right. Yeah. It's more like a catalyst in those transactions.
Yeah.
And of course, energy, metabolism, everything to do with whether you feel oxygenated or not. When you're not oxygenated, you're like a fish out of water.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. That's probably it. Really.
So let's talk about someone who has lots of energy and somebody that has too much energy. I mean, not enough energy. Right? I want to be having lots of energy, and that's why I said it twice. But if someone is low in energy, there's a chance they don't have enough iron, or the iron is not being used. They could have it stored somewhere because if you have, I guess there's an issue with iron rusting, right? Like bacteria and stuff in our body, they like to chew on iron, right?
Yeah.
So you have to.
Yeah, I mean, once you get oxidative stress, that's a terrible thing. That's called aging. Look at us now, right?
Yeah.
This is the oxidative stress right there. My skin is suffering with oxidative stress. I was looking at it, and the other day I was thinking, I could just get it tightened up a little. I could do the Nancy Pelosi thing and
Oh, that's so. People look so bad.
All right, never mind. So yes,
George says that he drinks goat milk.
which is clever. Okay, sidebar into dairy, right? There are two kinds of cows, northern and southern. The southern is also known as buffalo. The protein, casein, in milk is different in the northern cow as it is in southern cow. So southern cow is a lot more human friendly than the northern cow. I think only Danish and Dutch genetics are compatible with the northern cow. Most of us other people do okay on buffalo and do not so okay on northern cow. And then
Yeah.
finally, the other species, sheep, goat, donkey, camel, those are way more compatible with us humans. So,
Which begs the question, why do we have all our milk coming from northern cows?
because they are the biggest producers. They produce more butter fat per pound of hay than other species. It's all the money thing, inputs and outputs.
Right.
No
More bang
concern
your
for
buck.
your health, all concern for the producer's wallet.
Okay. Now, do iron levels increase with age?
Yeah, I think so. It has something to do with our ability to get rid of it effectively. I mean, women stop menstruating,
Right.
and men stop giving blood or stop fighting blood sports. I don't know. There might be some other reason. But yes, it rises with age, and too much of a good thing is not a good thing.
Yeah, I just had a little bit of an insight from what you said there, Martin. It hadn't occurred to me before, but I know it's really true because we see it all the time, right?
Mm.
You're a young, vibrant guy. You play for the professional football team, right? You take in 6,000 calories a day. You're working out. And of course, we know what happens when you retire is you blow up and you're just a beast, right?
Yeah, you become oversized.
So,
Yep.
so it's really hard to change those habits. So the average person, they're taking enough food for their iron is fine, blah, 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 blah. But then, like you say, they stop menstruating or they stop going to the bar and getting into fights and getting nosebleeds. Like, I don't know.
Okay.
Whatever that they're doing, right?
Yeah.
And then, but they keep doing the same thing, right? And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
all of a sudden, their iron, instead of it being worked out normally, it goes way up, right? And
Yeah.
now you have all these iron aging, rusting, sagging skin problems.
Yeah. I mean, there's a particular condition called hemochromatosis, which is a liver disease. I mean, if you have hemochromatosis, you'll be the person who needs to donate blood all the time. The only solution, medical solution that exists to hemochromatosis is bloodletting. Yeah.
Huh. Okay. All right. So iron is important. You need to have it, but you need to make sure that you're also able to use it.
There's something to do with how the iron is actually absorbed and converted from food. And it's done actually by microbes. And I remember a study about one of the products that we sell. It's called body biotics.
Body biotic. Actually, that's one of the products we're going to be talking about.
Yeah.
Let
And
me
the
bring
body
that up.
biotics specifically had a study done by a Dr. Peter Rothschild back when. And it studied how the iron is actually fixed by these microbes out of the food and deposited into usable tissue. So there definitely is something to be said about our relationship with the microbes. And specifically these ones, they are soil-based consortia. There's 7 or 8 different species specifically chosen for this in their native environment of fulvic acid, of all wonderful things.
And we talk about fulvic acid all the time.
Yeah, because it's one of those things that nurtures microbial environment really well.
So we kind of come back. I mean, everything is foundational, right? Like the world likes to make things complex. It's not. You have a stomach, you have a digestive system, and you need to have the right microbes in the right part of the digestive system for the good workers to do their job. And if you have that, they're going to take the iron, they're going to convert it to whatever needs to be converted. If you have a whole bunch of bad ones, then they're just going to take over. It's like the weeds in the garden. They're going to choke out everything. And they're going to just like it's party time. And you're going to be wondering why you're sitting, laying on the couch with no energy all the time.
Yeah, that's definitely part of it. So yeah, consider body biotics as your reset, where you may end up with better levels of iron just because you will have changed your microbiome within.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. What other thing did we decide that we should talk about? Or was that the only one? I don't remember now.
Well, we were going to talk about gender differences, and we covered that. We've talked about some iron-rich foods. We've talked about vegetarians and vegans and the problems that they have. Probably not a good idea to supplement with iron.
Yeah, there's this weird thing that the cereal manufacturers do, is that
fortified with iron.
And when you actually look carefully, it is filings, iron filings.
George has a really good question.
Yeah.
What about alfalfa, spirulina, moringa? Chlorella?
Well, okay, so those are chlorophyll sources. Chlorophyll, there's an interesting thing. Chlorophyll is a molecule that has at its center a magnesium, and that is the only difference from hemoglobin, which has at its center iron. So plants use chlorophyll, and we use hemoglobin for oxygen transport. So all of those plants that he mentioned are rich sources of chlorophyll, which may be a wonderful source of making red blood cells. So eating these plant juices, chlorella, alfalfa, wheatgrass, barley grass, moringa, all of that is super healthy. I just thought of something really important, and that was this happy fish. I don't know if you know the story, but people eating rice, especially in Asia, end up with an iron deficiency. And the happy fish is a piece of iron, not steel, sort of like same type of iron as you would use for iron skillet, cast iron skillet, if you remember.
Right.
So if you cook on cast iron skillets, you will naturally be getting iron into your food.
Right.
But this happy fish is something about this size, maybe half of the palm of my hand. And you are to put that in the pot. And when you cook that, there's enough iron coming off of that little piece of iron into the meal, into rice, so that the iron deficiency is prevented. And just the other day, I went online looking for iron happy fish, and I found it. There's a website. They do sell it here in America too.
Interesting.
And so I was thinking I should go buy the happy iron fish and put it in my rice pot.
Right, because then your rice is going to have more iron.
Yeah, just enough. And it's interesting that is the natural sloughing off of the iron off of that little slab of iron is just enough to make it right.
Right. Wow. Very cool.
Yeah. Cook
so
on
lots of
iron
different
skillets.
things that you can do.
Yes, kick with iron skillets. It will both help you with your iron, and it will also increase your strength because the damn things are so heavy.
Right. And George says, I like Utah salt and trace minerals.
Right. We do sell a Ionic trace mineral product, which comes from Utah, from the Salt Lake. And the only trick with that product is that it has sodium removed. So it's all the trace minerals minus sodium. So, of course, in our shop, we use Himalayan salt, which is sodium chloride only, 98% sodium chloride, nothing else. Whereas this other salt, like the Utah salt or Dead Sea salt or whatever, they have a lot of other minerals to it. So
very cool.
Whole salt, yes to whole salt.
Yeah. Yeah, not refined salt, not refined flour, not refined sugar,
And not refined plant seed oils.
refined plant seed oils, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're coming to the end of our time. Want to remind everybody we're going to be uncensored on Telegram next. I'll put the link into the comments for everyone to see it. And Kevin says, "Lucky ironfish." I found lucky ironfish.
Clearly, I misspoke. It's not happy. It's lucky.
It's lucky. And you know, that is such a Chinese thing, right? Like it's you have enough iron, you're going to be lucky because you're going to have good health.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely an Asian mindset. Yeah. Lucky ironfish.
Lucky ironfish. Awesome. So next week we're going to be talking about the biggest lie about your digestive system. That's going to be really exciting.
Yeah, I wonder what that is, Scott. You're going to surprise me?
I'm going to surprise you. I don't know. I give you all the information. You just never read it.
It's not true. I read everything that you send me.
The biggest lie about your digestive system.
All right,
we do. That's one of the things that I've really noticed is a lot of people do things for some reason thinking that this is helpful because somebody told them this is what you do, and it's wrong. And it just happens over and over and over again.
I remember this colleague of mine, she called me and she said, I want to lose some weight and my neighbor is doing the grapefruit diet and I'm going to try it. And I said, listen, you are a fast oxidizer. You're going to be feeling like hell after this. I'm telling you, you'll be terrible. I want to try it, she said. On third day, she called and she said, I'm feeling the worst I've felt in years. I said, I promised you.
Right.
Eat for your type.
Yeah. And what came up for me as you were talking was know thyself, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You have to know yourself. And it's not hard. Like just when you eat something, are you sound asleep like an hour later, or are you running up down the walls and mad at the world?
Yeah,
that's
right.
You know,
you just demonstrated the either the calming effect or the stimulating effect of the food on you.
Yep. And then you can use that to manipulate yourself, right? Like if you know something's super stimulating, don't have it at 8 o'clock at night.
Because you will not sleep.
Yeah. I remember there was an Excellent product that I found really stimulating and I didn't realize. And at about 9 o'clock, I'd say, yeah, I want to have this because then it'll all digest overnight. And at 2 a.m, I finally got to sleep. I didn't even go to bed. Like I was like working away on my computer and cleaning the house and everything else till 2
I remember Zoetine. I remember getting a call from this lady who suffered from chronic fatigue and said, get on Zoetine, you'll do better. And she said she took it for dinner. And she said she cleaned her kitchen and then she cleaned her garage and then she went to sleep at 3:30 a.m.
I think it was Zoetine that I was taking that I was drinking at that time.
Yeah.
So it was really
it's an awesome breakfast, terrible dinner.
That's right. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. Next week, what's the biggest lie in your digestive system that you think is the truth? We're heading over to the Telegram station. George, thank you for joining us. Kevin, appreciate having you with us. We'll see you over. Let me just put that up one more time. t.me/life&co. And we'll see you over there right now. And it's uncensored. We think we might be uncensored on Facebook, but we don't trust Mark just yet. See you next time, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.